Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And welcome to Sofa Reviews. Today we're watching G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra.
Released in 2009, it was apparently based more on the comics than the cartoon or the toy line from Hasbro.
Which is, of course, a recipe for great films. Shit.
So we start in 1641 France.
Here, we see an Irishman playing a Scottishman who gets given a new hat.
You don't think this is any sort of foreshadowing, do you?
You know, I hope not, actually. I hope the filmmakers just wanted to vent their hatred of Scottish people.
We're then introduced to the Doctor. Christopher, I don't want to be typecast, but I always play the bad guy, Eccleston, who's playing James McCullen.
He's there giving a lecture on his latest weapon.
The weapon uses nanomites that can eat through anything, unless a kill switch is activated. But for some reason, people don't seem to have a problem with this.
Once unleashed, the nanomites will not stop. Ever.
Well, you see, deep down, the military just want the entire world to be eaten. That way we'll finally have peace.
So we're introduced to Duke and Ripcord, who are leading the team responsible for transporting this ridiculously badly thought out doomsday device.
Which is, of course, the perfect time for the movie to see if it can make us care about these people.
I'm talking jets, man, jets. And you know I qualify every time we're on leave.
You want to get up in the air?
Yeah.
I'll buy you a trampoline.
I'm finding myself siding with Marlon Wayans. That's really weird.
Hey, dude, weren't we supposed to meet up with the recon team at 40 clicks?
Yeah, so?
Well, we just passed kilometer 41.
I should have mentioned this at 40 clicks, but I'm a lovable idiot.
They get attacked and are completely outclassed by an advanced enemy.
The ship lands and we get a look at our perfectly sensibly dressed villain, and she's wearing night glasses.
She's the Baroness, and she collects the warhead while the military is slaughtered.
Duke catches up with her, and it turns out they know each other.
Hello, Duke.
Anna?
Suddenly, ninjas!
Anna!
Scarlet also shows up and somehow targets a recording with a homing explosive arrow. And of course the guy is kind enough to look up for it as well.
Bye-bye! After some more ridiculous action, including a bullet-time dodge of a laser by a plane, the bad guys escape and Duke recovers the case.
Duke isn't willing to go with the people who have saved him until they show him a hologram of a guy claiming to be a general. Because that's not the kind of thing you'd lie about.
Duke and Ripcord decide to go along with them, even though they have no idea who they are.
Well, whoever you are and whatever this unit is, I want in.
Really? Because the initiation is pretty savage.
Weird stuff. Butt stuff.
So the General explains that the team is made up of the best people available.
Knowing is half the battle.
They get to meet Mr. Typecast through the power of holograms.
And he's got some harsh words for Duke.
Your job, Captain, was to protect them, and if it wasn't for General Hawk, you'd have failed.
That's not a fair assessment.
Yeah, that's not a fair assessment. You've only considered the facts.
We then discover that McCullen is beaming his hologram from a submarine.
On the submarine, he moans at the Baroness because the plan has gone wrong. And of course she's a hologram as well.
Finally, Storm Shadow shows up, and he's also a hologram.
If you had sent me in the first place, it would already be done.
He's right, you know. He is the only competent bad guy in the film.
And for fans of subtlety, we're introduced to Zarkon, who keeps whistling the same damn tune.
Once he gets to his secret underwater base, Eccleston has a moment of irony as he meets a character called the Doctor.
The Doctor explains that with nanomites, he's created soldiers who feel no pain, fear, and are completely obedient.
You've done well. You've thrown the caber clear out of the yard.
Well, I'm sold on the idea that he's Scottish now.
Back with the Joes, they're trying to figure out who the Baroness is.
We have access to any photograph on any server anywhere in the world.
That's right, they've got Facebook.
Duke and Ripcord tell the General that they want to join the team because they so clearly are upset about the team they lost.
The General tries to tell Duke that he can't join up if he's after revenge, but once it's made clear that they're after Duke's ex-girlfriend, there's obviously no worry that he's bitter and after revenge.
So of course we need a flashback to explain that Duke and the Baroness used to be together.
Duke deciding to whip his cock out at the most inappropriate moment.
Duke, it's pew pew.
He actually proposed and we get to meet her brother Rex.
Say yes, you idiot. He's a real American hero.
Thanks for ruining the mood, Rex.
Well, wasn't that nice? Thankfully, we cut back to the start of their training.
And for no reason at all, Brendan Fraser.
So we get to see that the guy who doesn't want to join the Air Force is an incredible submarine pilot.
But who cares about that? It's time to see Ripcord awkwardly woo Scarlet.
So, what are you saying?
Attraction is an emotion. Emotions are not based in science. And if you can't quantify or prove that something exists, well, in my mind it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as if reaction to an external stimulus is classed as a sign of life, or that you can use neuroimaging to scan the brain, which will show sections that light up, for example, when an emotion is conveyed, such as anger in the lateral orbitofrontal cortex. You stupid bitch!
Anyway, Duke and Ripcord are made into official Joes just as Storm Shadow and the Baroness make their attack to get the warheads back.
And because it's a stealth mission, they bring the guy who's always whistling.
Zartan stabs a woman in the back, just in time for Storm Shadow to show up and save him from the General.
Oh, that's right. You don't kill women.
Or main characters, because it's not as if the General might.
So after the alarm goes off, we get a lot more explosions and the Duke catches up to the Baroness.
Anna, stop right there.
Shoot her in the leg. Shoot her in the leg. Shoot her in the leg, you moron!
Duke once again fails at emotions and we get even more mindless action.
Now with added ninja on ninja action.
The fight continues until the movie gives us what is possibly the most awesome thing in it. A ninja on a jetpack.
This is so awesome that they managed to escape with the warheads, although it's never explained how Zartan got out of them.
After the battle we see that Scarlet is upset, but don't worry, Marlon Wayans is on hand to cheer her up.
He insults her father and mocks her beliefs. Oh god, she's in love with him now.
Duke consoles Snake Eyes after the battle with his brother, which leads to a flashback.
Of course, Duke knowing that Snake Eyes had a brother, that his brother was attacking the base, is quite impressive considering Snake Eyes is a mute.
The flashback shows Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow fighting as children until Storm Shadow's father shows up to stop them.
English, Storm Shadow. Where are your manners?
Yeah, speak English. He's white and that's the only language they speak.
Back in the present, it's time for more foreshadowing.
McCullen tells the two of them to take the warheads to Paris in order to weaponize them.
Wait, why couldn't a weapons dealer weaponize them himself?
I got this incredible new weapon for you. It's brilliant. All you need to do is activate it. You can kill every single person in a city without touching a building.
Well, that sounds like it would suit my evil military douchebag schemes perfectly. How do you activate it?
I don't know. Later, we get to see Zartan undergoing surgery to become someone else.
Back with the Joes, Ripcord manages to work out the plot from pretty much nothing.
The weapons case.
What?
Remember McCullen had us open the weapons case?
What about it?
Well, I bet you he gave us a code that reactivated the tracking beacon.
You're right.
We then get another flashback showing how Rex was killed 4 years ago when an air raid came earlier than expected.
Duke watches the funeral from afar and decides not to go and console his bereaved fiancée.
Well, it's not as if abandoning her when the last member of her family has died will make her dye her hair and turn evil.
We once again return to the present, and Storm Shadow proves that he's still the best villain in this movie.
So the Baroness gets her husband to weaponize the warheads while the Joes show up in power suits.
Ah, Marlon Wayans and slapstick. I haven't missed you at all.
Luckily, Snake Eyes is at least competent and manages to get on top of the villain's car.
Duke and Ripcord chase after the car for a while, which gives them enough time to destroy France.
They get shot by a weapon which earlier on in the film destroyed a helicopter, so of course now it's just mild discomfort.
Because he's a ninja, Snake Eyes is fully aware of train timetables and lets go of the Hummer.
After walking off the car crash, the Baroness and Storm Shadow split up. She with the kill switch, he with the warhead.
We also discover that despite the fact that he's a bad guy, Storm Shadow is still too respectful to shoot down the Eiffel Tower from a woman's toilet.
Duke goes after the Baroness for the kill switch, not having the sense to try to dodge when she shoots at him.
Because he's a ninja, Storm Shadow can sense flying vehicles and jumps out the window.
Duke goes charging to jump into the helicopter, needing to take off his helmet because it's clearly weighing him down.
The team then try to get information from the dead driver.
The brain survives a couple of minutes after death.
It's been dead for about 6 minutes now, so good luck with that.
The doctor then uses his nanites to melt the dead guy's face and brain.
After saving Paris...
Bonjour, everyone! Don't worry, everything is boom. We stopped the terrorists.
The Joes get arrested.
Elsewhere, Duke is being taken to McCullen's Fortress of Solitude, and even he points out how stupid this is.
Why didn't you just kill me?
Out of nowhere, we get yet another flashback where it's revealed Storm Shadow killed his father out of jealousy.
They managed to pull some nonsense out of thin air to work out where he's been taken.
I said you've been ordered back to the pit. But I didn't say when, and I didn't say which route to take.
Maybe a northern one.
So, a northern route from France to Egypt.
At the North Pole, Duke attempts to make an escape, but is easily caught.
A little while later, and Duke is being beaten up, the sounds of his pain triggering memories of love and affection in the Baroness. So I guess we know what they like to do in their spare time.
They've built a military base under the polar ice cap.
It's the perfect location. Nearly undetectable, easily defensible.
Also incredibly expensive to run, incredibly hard to keep secret, and once discovered, incredibly vulnerable.
The Joes prepare to assault the underwater base as the Doctor plans to turn Duke into another mind-controlled soldier.
We then get led into our final flashback of the day, where we discover that the Doctor is actually the dead brother of the Baroness, Rex.
We also get to see Rex learning some important lessons.
Science requires sacrifice.
Ah, there you are, Science. I was just wondering what the density of ice is.
Kill that goat for me!
Fine.
In liquid form, water has a density of approximately 1 gram per cubic centimetre. However, upon cooling, the density of water decreases due to the formation of steady hydrogen bonds causing hexagonal packing, giving an appropriate density of 0.917 per cubic centimetre. Hence, ice floats.
So he downloads the information and then the bunker is hit.
And Dr. Mindbender and I escaped with his research.
Really? Dr. Mindbender.
McCullen launches the missiles, Snake Eyes proving once again that he's the badass of the team by actually going to do something about it, while Scarlet and Ripcord watch on.
What about the other two? We gotta find the kill switches.
They're already way too far out of range.
Out of range of the kill switch. Surely this is something that would have come up during the planning of these things?
Ripcord then gets into a superjet that McCullen had just left around in order to shoot down the missiles.
Of course, true love conquers all, and the Baroness comes to save Duke.
It's revealed that Rex has implanted her with nanomites as well.
Meanwhile, Snake Eyes has to go over some pressure plates, which will apparently go off if anything larger than a quarter touches them, and so he maximises his pressure by going over on his fingertips.
However, we're going to let him off on this on virtue of being a badass.
We also get a huge underwater battle, complete with fire.
Having infiltrated the base, Scarlet and Snake Eyes get to work slaughtering civilians.
After an explosion burns McCullen's face, Duke manages to get the remote control for the Baroness.
Ripcord catches up to one of the missiles, and it's revealed that in order to fire, he has to use voice controls, which would be a lot less efficient than using a damn button.
Wait a minute, McCullen is Scottish. Maybe the plane responds to Celtic.
Although it doesn't seem likely McCullen would have ever actually used the jet, so this is just utter nonsense.
Meanwhile, in the President's bunker, one of his men kills all of his guards.
Back underwater, and we get more ninja action.
Rex and McCullen flee while the Duke goes after them, carrying the Baroness.
It's Duke! He looks fine!
But what's he doing with her?
3 words for you. Remote controlled girlfriend.
After a cool fight scene, Snake Eyes finally defeats Storm Shadow.
Ripcord catches up with the missile and takes the nanomites up into space, luckily immune to G-forces as he's never flown before.
Rex destroys the ice pack above them, which somehow sinks and destroys the perfectly located base.
So, to wrap things up, Ripcord survives, the Joes escape the base, McCullen becomes Destro, and Rex is captured.
You will call me Commander.
You also get to see what happened to Zartan.
Oh yeah, because he seemed important.
And so the movie ends, and in conclusion, there's some good things about this movie. For one, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes are pretty awesome characters. Their fight scenes are really energetic and very well done. Their costumes are pretty cool and they capture the scene every time they're there. Snake Eyes proves to be the most competent hero, and Storm Shadow proves to be the most competent villain. In fact, if this movie was just about the ninjas, A, it'd be a lot quieter, and B, it'd probably be a lot more interesting just from the backstory. And as one final, very impressive note, Marlon Wayans is at his least annoying.
Thank you!
That's what you're saying. It's not what I'm saying.
Oh god, this film's just so stupid. I mean, Duke is really bland. Every single non-ninja character in this film is a moron. I don't like any of them. I wish they all died. It's clearly just meant to focus on, ooh, look at the explosions, ignore all the plot. They break into the pit, they take Zartan with them. Zartan, who's key to their plot to replace the president, the most important guy in their team. Of course we'll take him to where loads of people are getting shot and there's loads of explosions going on. What could possibly go wrong? And finally, they don't even take advantage of the fact that there's a perfect line they could have used during this film: Joe's before hoes.
America.